I'm Kamala Bernard Moving, Social Services Home Economics Officer for the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, Harington. Today, our focus will be on Dasheen. We're going to be using Dasheen to make creative dishes. Now, Dasheen, the leaves and the stem are used as vegetables in some countries. The tuber is mainly had boiled. Dasheen is known to be very nutritious. It is high in carbohydrates and some minerals and vitamins, such as vitamin B6, vitamin C and E, and potassium and manganese. Dasheen is said to have anti-cancer and analgesic and anti-inflammatory properties. Now, one of the roles of the Social Services Home Economics Unit is to encourage the increased use of our local foods. And today, we will be looking at different ways to use our Dasheen. Please enjoy and feel free to try these recipes at home. We have here 2.5 cups of flour, 1 cup of shredded Dasheen, and this Dasheen was boiled, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger, and 1/2 teaspoon of allspice. We also have 8 ounces of sugar, and we'll be using this to make a thick syrup to use in the bulla. You could also have used wet sugar, and 2 tablespoons of melted margarine. Our first step will be to sieve all our dry ingredients. So we're going to sieve our flour into a bowl. Then we're going to sieve all our spices and raising agents into the flour. We're going to now add the Dasheen to this mixture. Shredded Dasheen, notice the flakes, allows it to spread easily and evenly. We're going to combine this. Then make a well in the center. And notice we have added some water to the sugar to make it into a thick syrup. Just enough to make it into a syrup, and we're going to add that in the middle of this mixture. We're also going to add 2 tablespoons of margarine. I'm going to combine this into a dough. because you're making up a syrup, you may have a little wet. So if it's a little wet, you just add a little more flour in order to get it into a stiff dough. Remember to sieve the flour. You may also need this if you want a bulla that is tight, with a tighter texture. So I could put down this spoon. And I could knead it. Alright, you'll find that it's a little sticky because of the sugar content of it. Alright. Add a little more flour to it, but it's still a little soft. Alright, so this is the texture that you'd want it to have. A dough that is pliable and that you can work with. Alright? It's okay if when you put the liquid mixture in that it's a little wet. You just add some flour and you work that in so that you get the texture that you want. Alright? So we're going to now roll this out on a floured surface. So I'm going to go ahead and flour my cutting board. A well floured surface. Okay. I'm going to turn out the dough onto the cutting board. If you need the color darker, you may add some browning, or if you had used the wet sugar, you'd have gotten a darker color bulla. One thing to note with Dasheen products is that they tend to have a very white appearance because Dasheen has a very light color. Alright? So what we're doing here, we're rolling out the dough to about 1/4 inch thickness. And you can make the shape bullas that you want. We're doing round ones today. So I'm going to be cutting them. So use the cutter and cut and try to get as many as possible. And these are going to be placed. Take a spatula, take them out, and place them on a greased and well floured baking tray. Your oven would have been preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So when what is left, you pull it together. And we're going to roll out again. Alright, and I'm going to be making some smaller bullas with this piece. Right, so we're going to now take these bullas to the oven where we will have them baked at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to place our Dasheen bullas in a preheated oven 20 to 25 minutes or until done. So here we have our finished product, Dasheen bullas. We also have packaged one so that you can see how you may generate income from preparing bullas from your dasheens. For the Dasheen punch, we need 10 ounces of cooked cubed dasheens, 3 cups of milk, a quarter teaspoon of almond essence, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and a half teaspoon of grated nutmeg and cinnamon. We also have sugar, and the sugar is optional, a quarter cup of sugar. The first thing that we're going to do is to add some of the milk to the blender. Add about half of the milk at first. This prevents the dasheen pieces from sticking under the blade. Then you're going to add the dasheen. I'm using an industrial blender, but you can use your blender at home. We're going to add the rest of the milk. Then I'm going to be adding vanilla. Almond flavoring. The other dry spices. I'm going to blend this at first and then I add the sugar. Now for persons who would rather not have the sugar, you could blend it at this stage and you still have a nice punch. Alright, so we're going to check to see what's happening inside. So here we have the mixture. There are some lumps still, so we're going to be blending a little more. Now there are, we're going to add the sweetener. Remember I said that you could do it without the sweetener, so I'm going to add half of this because I want to reduce the sugar in this punch. And you realize that it still works, it still tastes good. And for those persons who want to add other ingredients, There are many other ingredients that you can add to this punch to make it more interesting. For example, I know in Jamaica we like to add strong drinks, so rum and wines and other flavors, toads and malta, all of those can be added to your drink. You could also add ice cream, that is a nice addition to this drink as well. So we're going to strain the mixture. And if you're someone who likes your punch very thin, you can always add more liquid to this mixture. Liquid, you could add water, you could add more milk, or as I said before, you could add other beverages which could add value in terms of taste to your punch. Right? There you have the Dasheen punch. We're going to be placing this now in our glass so you can see exactly what it looks like finished. So here we have the finished product, Dasheen punch. We're going to be doing Dasheen rock buns. For the Dasheen rock buns, we have 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of shredded Dasheen, and that was boiled, 1 cup of coconut, 5 ounces of sugar. We have our spices and raising agents. We also have half cup each of raisins and mixed peel, 1 teaspoon each of vanilla and almond essence, 1 egg beaten, 4 ounces of margarine. Now our first step is to sieve the flour and spices in a large bowl. So we're adding spices as well. The raising agents as well. Then we're going to cut the fat into the flour mixture. So we're adding our margarine here. We're going to use a dinner knife to cut this into the fat. Alright, in order to get this smaller, you have to rub it in as well. And this is called the rub-in method. It's one of the methods used in cake baking. We're going to rub until it resembles breadcrumbs, and you're also going to rub your fingers so that it incorporates some air into the product and that you will coat the fat with flour. We're going to get rid of those large lumps. Alright, it's resembling breadcrumbs, but that's what we want. Alright, then we're going to add coconut to the mixture. We're also going to add the shredded Dasheen. Sugar. And the fruits. And to make a well in the center. We're going to combine all the liquid ingredients together. So we'll add egg, and we'll add the vanilla and almond essence. And we're going to be combining this with a fork. We're going to add milk as needed. Alright, you notice the color coming out. You want it to have a rocky appearance. I'm going to add a tablespoon of milk. Notice how it's coming together. That's what you want. Alright, so now you have the mixture. Nice and firm. In the greased baking tray. And so we're going to be making them small size. These are nice for snacks, and they can also form an income generation activity. And the beauty about this is that you can even use dasheen that is left over to prepare these items. Bake these rock cakes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 minutes or until finished. So we're going to be placing our rock cakes in the oven. Here we have our finished product, Dasheen Recipes. They can also be packaged and used for an income generation activity.